Don't move to Boston without knowing these top relocation questions I get from you on this channel, as well as from families and people that I have helped relocate to the Boston area. Now, if you've been on this channel before, you know we relocated ourselves from Washington, D.C. Now, today is going to be part one of a two-part series. We're going to do the 5 top relocation questions today. You're going to want to hit subscribe because you're not going to want to miss next week's other top 5 relocation questions. And wait until the end of the video. You'll be able to decide if the Bay State, your relocation and moving plans in the future. I'm Katherine Kranenburg. I'm a greater Boston area real estate agent here in Massachusetts. I've relocated myself, and so a lot of things I'm going to share with you today are not only questions I'm getting from you, but also questions I had myself. Perhaps you're relocating here for a job. Maybe you're moving here to be closer to family. Maybe you are coming here because you're attending some of the best rated schools in the country. Whatever the case may be, we are here to help you. So if you have any questions, don't forget you can click any of the links below. My contact information is there, as well as my email in the description. So let's dive in. One of the relocation questions I get asked is, what is the cost of living in Boston? Now, it's no surprise that Boston is expensive. It's no secret that it's probably one of the most expensive states to live in the United States. Not as expensive as California or Hawaii or even New York. We're pretty high ranked up there. So if affordability is important to you, Massachusetts may not be your first choice. Now, across America, we have seen inflation be a sting for everyone, but especially here in the Bay State, the residents feel it the most. Boston is known for having higher costs than the national average. Matter of fact, we're 46 to 50% higher than the national average. So when you move here, you want to think about not just the cost of living, but affordability of living here. The cost of living in a state like Massachusetts is also the salaries. What we will note is that salaries in Massachusetts are some of the highest in all of the United States. When you take into consideration not only just the cost of living, you're going to consider groceries, transportation, utilities, taxes. These are all things that are important to budget. One of the things you'll notice with regard to groceries is that people here in Massachusetts do pay a little bit more. Of course, I feel like every state has probably seen an increase in groceries. You're going to pretty much go to any of these grocery stores, whether it's Market Basket, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, you've got Shaw's, you've also got Stop and Shop, Wegmans. Everyone has seen an increase in the price of groceries. When we moved here from Washington, D.C., one of the first things we noticed when we moved here and I took the children to the grocery stores is the cost of groceries. So be prepared if you're moving here to take a look at that and consider that when you're budgeting relocating here to Boston. When you move to an expensive state like Massachusetts, you are weighing your options about what is the quality of life as well as the cost of living here, because the two come together. Now, it's interesting that the most expensive state is also considered the best state to live in as well, which is this article by Wallet Hub in 2024. Most people are attracted to when relocating to Massachusetts. Not only will they see the historic charm, but you really can enjoy 4 seasons. You can enjoy the beaches in Cape Cod. You can enjoy the mountains in New Hampshire, Vermont. You can enjoy, obviously, a variety of different outdoor activities around these. You also have nature and green spaces, lakes almost all over. And you can't deny that basically Boston is pretty much surrounded by water. So there's all kinds of activities that help contribute to that quality of life. So when you think about the cost of living in Massachusetts, it's also its access to northeastern cities. You can easily jump on a train and go to New York. You can go to Philadelphia. You can go to Washington, D.C. And of course, Boston's International Logan Airport makes it easy, accessible to get to any state as well as any international city abroad. That's why so many people call Massachusetts home, because it is a state that a lot of people relocate to for jobs, quality of life. In fact, even in this article, Wallet Hub named Boston in the top 20 of the best capital cities to live in. You'll also notice in the article that Boston is ranked 50th in affordability. Now, guys, again, it's no secret that Massachusetts is expensive. It's expensive, but it's also amazing. I think it's probably one of the most amazing places that we've lived, and I think you'll find that too. Before we get started, there's a relocation guide here. You can grab it in the description below, or you can grab it from this QR code. It's completely free. It's full of resources that I think would be helpful. So go ahead and grab it from any of the places here. So second relocation question I get asked is, will home prices come down? Honestly, I'm going to say unlikely. But here's the thing. Most major cities, most states have not really seen a softening of home prices in their cities. Boston especially, you're definitely going to see that home prices have remained steady, if not have increased over the last several years. Boston's housing market is competitive and it is driven by supply and demand. As with most major cities, Boston does need more housing inventory. We've talked about that a lot on this channel as well. And with people relocating here for its robust job market in Boston, both here in the city and in the suburbs. So if you're waiting for home prices to crash, you're probably going to be waiting a really long time. So instead of focusing on will the house prices go down, one of the things that me and our team will help you do when you're relocating here is help you come up with strategies on how to buy and go through the home buying process. Now, one of the things we do have is a home buyer's guide. And so if you want more information on that, email me at the link below and I'll send that over to you. We also have a Calendly link, and in there you can actually book a buyer consultation call as well. So it's not so much will the home prices go down, it's much more related to what is affordable. So let's take a look at some of the data. As of January 2025, the Boston housing market remains very strong. You can see here the median list home price is $949,000. That is reflecting a slight decrease from the year before. Despite this, though, affordability still remains a concern for many people. In February of 2024, I pulled a little bit of data here for you for Boston, Cambridge, and the Quincy market. You can see that it indicates a very strong seller's market. We have seen indications that there have been some sort of price corrections, and we are seeing some homes sell for over asking, and we are seeing some homes sell for under asking. Overall, I feel like it's just been a really steady start to 2025. We also have seen some consistency in the market that basically represent, post-COVID, where we have home buyers waiving inspections, waiving contingencies. That's something that we see a lot, especially out here in the suburbs. This keeps the market competitive as well. Are people waiving inspections? Are people waiving financing? Happy to talk to you about that, depending on your situation. It is very personal, but we are seeing that offers are coming in without contingencies. And again, we can walk you through all of them. So if you take a look at this article, Karen Ning, who is a senior economist at Zillow, says that metros like Boston have the largest housing deficit in the country and strong job markets. And this basically ratchets up competition. According to Teresa Hatton, jobs are plentiful in Boston, but the housing supply does not exactly equal that. We hope to see more growth. I think professionally, we are going to see more new development helping the housing shortage that we're experiencing here in the Boston area. What will home prices do in 2025? Well, guys, that remains to be seen. But from the stat that I just shared with you and the projections moving forward, we are not going to be seeing any sort of home price changes, especially down. I don't think so. Another question I get asked from people relocating to Boston is, will interest rates go down? As of date of filming this video, we have seen some slight fluctuations in interest rates. I would say overall, it's been quite balanced. As we see in most of the United States, you're averaging at about 6.75% interest rate. Now, if you look at this time last year, it was much higher. So I feel like we're going in the right direction of interest rates going down. The bottom line, guys, is people need to buy houses, and whether it's a 5%, 6%, or 7% interest rate, people are moving. people are still buying homes and living in Boston. If you look at life events, whether it's people having children, moving here for jobs, relocating, couples downsizing, families upsizing, is really a driving force for the real estate market. I would say, despite home buyers' competition in the Boston area market, I feel like buyers are pretty resilient and there's a lot of activity going on. I mean, if you just look at just this past month, I would say we've had more inventory on the market this year than we did last year. Just slightly, but we are seeing more inventory actually on the market this year. What are the impacts of interest rates currently? Well, we are actually seeing some homes sit on the market longer and some actually selling within a few days. Now, it is really case by case. On the positive note, I feel like buyers can afford homes in the current interest rate. And so we are seeing that buyers are having more time to consider what those options and what those housing options look like. What can be affecting interest rates right now as well is obviously we have some weather concerns in California. We also had pretty heavy, severe cold winter days here in Boston. And even though people still are going out and looking and not deterred by these, obviously national events and local events can have an effect on the interest rates and people purchasing homes. So if you look at in October 2023, rates peaked at over 7.79%. So I would say we've seen a gradual decrease, and I think economists are actually predicting we're probably going to get back down to 6.3 by the end of 2025. But as with all things with regard to interest rates, it's constantly fluctuating. But one of the things our clients are taking advantage of with the interest rates is 2-1 buy downs. They're also seeing, especially with new constructions, that sellers are offering some concessions, which has been really helpful. So our clients take advantage of the rate buy downs as well as referring lenders to a recent couple that we just worked with. I'm taking advantage of the interest rates currently. We helped them search for a home for a long time, and we got them into a really great place here. And being in a competitive market like Boston and in its suburbs, we are seeing sellers making concessions. We're even seeing luxury condo buildings offering a whole year of condo association fees. So I would say overall, I feel like interest rates are staying pretty stable. I feel like buyers are actually affording the houses that they've been looking at. And even though Boston still remains competitive, we've actually been very successful in helping our buyers get into the house that they've been wanting. So the fourth question I get asked a lot with relocating to Boston is, what are the taxes like? There is an old nickname to this, and so it is called Taxachusetts. Does Massachusetts live up to its old nickname, Taxachusetts? And I'm going to say yes, it does. Massachusetts actually ranks better than 13 other states. According to the data from the Tax Foundation, Taxachusetts ranks less than 13 other states. Tax York is number one on the list with the highest tax burden in the country. Then you have Tax of Connecticut, and then you also have Tax Hawaii. So let's look about the taxes. So Massachusetts has a sales income tax of 5%, and then the property taxes really vary from town to town. Now, that's one of the things you will have to get used to when moving here. Unlike where we were in DC, every town, every village, every community has their own tax rate, which can be great, but it's definitely something you would want to know because perhaps you are talking to friends who live here and they live in one town and you may be looking at another town. So just take that in consideration because the taxes are different from town to town. So the current property tax rate in Boston is $11.58 per $1,000 assessed value. So just take a look at this graph here and you can see some examples here for $700,000 and $2 million here in the Boston and its suburbs. Now, one thing you may not know about is the millionaire's tax. What exactly is that? Well, not everyone on this channel is probably going to have to pay the millionaire's tax, but if you do, you want to know about it. In Massachusetts, starting in 2023 tax year, a 4% surplus was added on for taxable income exceeding $1 million. Now, we're not going to spend too much time on that right now, but it's just worth knowing that if you move here, there is such a thing called the millionaire's tax. So just take that into consideration when you're moving to Massachusetts. It's no surprise that Massachusetts is an expensive state to live in. Guys, what do you think of the video so far? If you have any questions or comments, or you want to reach out to me and my team here, look at the link below. You can grab our email and our phone number. It's right there in the description below. We'd love to be your realtor of choice when you're considering a move to the Boston area. Don't forget, we also have a free relocation guide, which you can access here, or it's in the description below. Fifth question I get asked on relocating to Massachusetts is, what's the public transportation like, and do you need a car? And the answer to that is yes and yes. The public transportation system here is very extensive. It's super reliable. You can see here all the various lines that take you as far as Logan Airport and as far as to its surrounding suburbs, from Quincy, as well as Belmont, Newton, name a few. We have a system, it's called the Boston MBTA. It consists of buses, trains, ferries, commuter rails. You'll have a little bit of all of that to access here in Boston. Now, I would say most people have a car. You don't need a car if you live in the city of Boston, but if you're going to live in some of its suburbs like Belmont, Lexington, Newton, Needham, Weston, you're going to want a car. Even in east suburbs like Revere or Chelsea, a lot of people do rely on their car. The other thing that Boston has really been working on is extending some of its line systems. You have a line extension at Union Square, as well as the Somerville Lynchmere station. You have the Green Line that goes to the Metrowest parts of Boston. You also have a commuter rail. You can take the commuter rail through Newton, Wellesley. It goes through Needham. The great thing is you also have Amtrak that takes you all the way into South Station, takes you to New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C., just to name a few. Parking can be hassle in Boston. So again, if you do have a car, make sure you read those meters. Everything is now on Park Boston app. You have Passport for parking options in the suburbs. And then of course, Cambridge has its own parking app as well. So when you're moving here and you have a car, make sure you download all of them, because take my example, I was in Cambridge. I used one of the Park Boston and Passport apps, and I did not have the right Cambridge one, and I got a ticket. I guess when you're thinking about moving to Boston, you may want to budget in maybe some parking tickets. But I would say overall, parking in general is cheaper than places like New York. Garage parking as well can be a lot cheaper than New York. So overall, I think we live in a state that has a wonderful, extensive transit system that's very reliable and safe. But if you are living in the suburbs, you're definitely going to want a car. And that leads into a whole other discussion about traffic and where you want to live. We've mentioned that a lot on this video as well. When reaching out to us on your relocation needs here in Boston, let us know if you're looking in suburbs that are further out. We can make some recommendations on and give you some feedback on what those traffic patterns look like as well. So guys, what did you think of these top 5 relocation questions? You wanted to know about Massachusetts taxes. Will interest rates come down? Will home prices go down? The job market, transportation in Massachusetts. Guys, I hope we did a great job here sharing that with you. And if you're here for the first time, I'm Katherine Kranenburg. I'm a Greater Boston area real estate agent. Next week, we're going to do part 2 series, the top questions we get for relocating to the Massachusetts area. If you're already living here and you want to know what the journey is like to be a buyer or seller, we have links down below. You can reach out to us. We also have a free relocation guide. Don't forget to click that link below as well. And we'll see you on the next video.